Hello, and welcome back to our podcast, The Boss Ravioli Queens. We are Boss Lady Amy,
Nicole Ravioli,
and Jasmine the Queen.
And we are healthcare workers who decided we are going to spill all the ravioli on the ins and outs of working in healthcare.
This isn't your usual podcast. If you came here for health and beauty tips, you're gonna be disappointed because we are gonna get messy.
Every other week, we will feature a different topic that dives into the not-so-talked-about, taboo, and just plain underbelly of healthcare. We will talk about what it's like being a caregiver outside of work and all the struggles that come with it. Just trying to be normal, everyday people.
On that note, let's
get
messy.
Warning, this podcast includes profane language, crude humor, mature subjects, and possible talk of bodily fluids. This may not be suitable for listeners under the age of 18. So this episode is called Everybody is Beautiful. We're going to be talking about body shaming, why you shouldn't do that, and possible health issues that could make it harder for people to lose weight or gain weight. Both sides of the spectrum. And go.
Well, anyways, there's many reasons why you shouldn't do it because, everybody's different. Everybody's body is different.
So since we're starting with that, I'm just going to bring up PCOS because I have that. It's a bitch. So basically, I am not diabetic, but if I eat a sugar, including fruits, because fruits have natural sugars, I have to eat a protein in order to make my insulin bind so the sugar doesn't just turn into fat right away. So even though when I was younger, I was doing some diet and exercise programs, I wasn't on the right diet. Because everybody tells you, oh, fruit's good for you. Well, that's true, but it's not good for me unless I have a protein with it. So that's just a little bit into it. I'm not going to delve super far into it, but it makes it very hard for me to lose weight. So that is most of the reason why I'm the size I am currently.
So since this is a primarily healthcare caregiving podcast, I think it's important to note that, at least from the standpoint of us and being caregivers and the people that we take care of, no body is the same. No medical diagnosis is going to lead to the same body type. We see so many different types of residents, and each one is completely different. And there are things that we have to do for every single resident. And I think that a lot of the times we need to take that perspective and look at it outside of work and the rest of the world. Nobody's the same. Everybody is completely different, and I don't think you can put anybody into a box like that.
Right. And also you have to think about everybody has different conditions or maybe medical issues or different types of issues that prevent them from being able to maybe work out or even lose the weight.
Right, people with a degenerative disc disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Hey!
Or in my case, when I was little, my kneecaps used to pop out of place on their own, which was really fun. But now it makes my knees it sucks. And then I had a grade 3 sprain in each one of my ankles, so I have to watch it because now I have weak ankles too.
And even for me, I'm probably the biggest I've ever been before, but I used to be in the military and I used to do all of that stuff. So it's not I haven't exercised. It's not I haven't been on the thinner side of things before. But even after losing all that weight, I was still chubby. I was still a big guy because my shoulders are wide. I'm broad. I'm very stocky. So it's not I was ever skinny or anything. So technically in the world standards, I was still considered fat.
Right. And on top of that, though, I think it's important to mention that for bigger people, the older you get, your skin loses that elasticity. Mm-hmm. So then now I have to worry about, great, now I'm going to have all this fucking extra skin that I don't have the money to get surgically removed and fixed up to look better. So I'm going to have to wear body shapers or whatever, tighter fitting clothes to hide all of that because society's standards suck ass.
Literally. I wish it was free to get that stuff done.
Nice. It'd
Wouldn't that be
nice.
so nice?
Free healthcare would be great.
Let's be real though.
fantastic.
Let's be real though, because obesity, like insurance companies make bank off of us, so that's why it's not free.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because then they can charge us like 3 times the amount because
and
we're
cancer
obese.
patients.
Yeah, that too. That too.
I mean, no matter what, somebody's always going to be looking at you like you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you're too skinny or if you're quote unquote healthy, you're not big enough, you're not thick enough,
Right.
you
We're
don't
ju-
have enough meat on your bones.
And we're not just talking about like being fat or skinny or anything. It can be anything. Like as simple as like, I mean, even if you think about like in China or like Asian culture or whatever, if Asians don't look a certain way, like their beauty standards are so high.
Ridiculously high.
Like it can be something as simple as like they have freckles and
Shunned.
yeah, exactly. Or like they don't have a thigh gap and they're shunned even though they're still super tiny.
And also, can we fucking talk about the men that comment on women not having a thigh gap? Do you know what a thigh gap means? It means you have a wider set vagina. You dumb fucks.
And better hips.
Literally. Like, come on.
A double wide vagina. There's room in there for 2.
It's a double decker.
So, that's not just like a fat versus skinny thing. That's like it's a woman body thing. It all
Also-
depends on your vag, yo.
No hate, but thick thighs do save lives.
Fuck yeah, they do. Do you know how many times that my fucking thighs have saved my phone from drowning?
I was just about to say that.
Imagine having a thigh gap. Your phone's going right in that toilet.
Yeah, it is. I'd be mad as hell.
I have never had a thigh gap. I don't know. I feel like that would be an interesting thing. It'd be like the Twilight
It'd be an
Zone.
interesting
Yeah.
experience. I think the goal is like try to put yourself in like somebody else's shoes and like feel how they feel about their body.
Right.
Like, I mean, just because you think somebody like looks really good and they're lucky to be like looking the way they are or whatever, doesn't mean they're not insecure about something.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, or let's talk about how because you're fat doesn't mean you're unhealthy necessarily, and because you're skinny doesn't mean that you're healthy. Because there's like such a broad spectrum of disorders that can and like illnesses that go with each of those things. So like hyperthyroidism, which means you have an overactive thyroid, that can cause, I believe, you to be like skinnier because it messes with your metabolism like that.
Yeah.
And then
I think so.
hypothyroidism
because it,
means
like,
you have an
you burn-
underactive.
Yeah,
burn
which means
everything
you gain
super
weight
fast and then-
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
So-
yeah.
I think that would be a good point to talk about. Like, what are some of the most common diagnoses that we see that affect people's weights, like residents? Obviously, there's
God.
diabetes.
Yeah, that's the biggest
There's
one.
hyper and hypothyroidism. PCOS.
Yeah.
When they have that, I can't remember the name of it, but when they have basically where they can't stop eating.
Binge eating disorder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
binge eating disorder, and then of course
Oh,
there's
wait.
pica.
Wait.
pica.
We should probably throw a trigger warning in here because there are some eating disorders that are going to come up.
That's true.
Just saying.
So yeah, trigger warning for eating disorders.
Body dysmorphia is a big one.
Yep.
I mean, even stuff like anorexia and bulimia.
So
It doesn't seem as like there as it used to be, but it's still there.
Oh, it's still very much alive.
So I don't have tons of experience with residents who have had anorexia or bulimia. I've had some,
Me,
Not
either really,
much.
not too many.
but I've had tons and tons and tons of residents who were on the opposite ends of the spectrum and they could not stop eating.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Same.
one comes to mind. They both know who I'm talking about, so it's fine.
Yeah, we do.
Lock up your bread, ladies and gentlemen.
Lock up any type of food.
Okay, let's not get too far into that one. Holy man, could talk about that for days.
So, dark humor. It's, this is a serious topic, of course. But being the caregivers that we are, we have to use dark humor in order to cope with these things, otherwise we will go crazy.
And sometimes it's like something that you find and then like you don't even know what to do. You're like so dumbfounded by it that you just laugh about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the reason why I said that bread comment was because this one specific resident that we all know is famous for eating entire loaves of bread.
In one sitting.
In one sitting. And it's one of those things where it's so silly. You're like, what do I even do but
Right.
laugh?
You're literally like you're like watching it happen and you're like, is this happening right now?
Is this real life?
Like, how's that bread treating you? Because I don't know what else to say.
Right.
Okay, but on a serious note, if I ever ate an entire loaf of bread in one sitting, I would be bloated for days. For days.
I'd probably throw up.
Probably. I think my insides would either explode or I would throw up. Yeah, that tracks.
So another thing that I think is important to note, pregnancy and body shaming.
Oh.
So, like, this is the biggest that I have ever been, and my son is going on 4 years old. Well, by the time you hear this, he will be 4. And, I still have not lost that weight, and I have tried very hard. I've worked on my weight a lot these last 4 years, and I honestly don't know if I'm ever going to go back to the weight I was before. I don't know if it's just because of, like, the excess skin or whatever, but that's another thing is that it's really gross. Like, how can you shame a new mother, or not even a new mother, but a mother? Like, someone that used their body to bring a new life into this world, and you're focused on what they should or shouldn't look like.
Let's look at it this way. If you're a decent human being, you're not going to shame your own mother for having stretch marks and whatever, so don't do it to any mom or any body in general. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not living their life. You're not walking in their shoes. Maybe take a minute and think about, hey, how would I feel if I was in their shoes, you know, like, and I was getting made fun of for A, B, and C, you know?
Or like even think about the flip side of where when the pandemic happened, there was like a lot of people that were like gym bodies and would work out a lot. And then as soon as everybody had to go into quarantine, there was a lot of people who like basically flipped the spectrum and ended up gaining a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. And then it basically flipped on them, and I feel like some of those people maybe understood like how it feels to actually be body shamed.
Right.
Maybe. And it's like when you like feel so crappy about yourself already, and then you have like people staring at you, or you can hear rude comments that people make. Just don't. Just please don't.
Sometimes it takes a lot for like I mean, even though like I'm a bigger guy now or whatever, and I'm like at the heaviest, like I'm still comfortable enough in my body. That when somebody does like say rude comments or whatever, it does drag you down a little bit, even though like you feel confident. Like, I hate when people will be just like, oh, you should lose some weight and stuff. And I'm like, oh, no, really? Like,
Really?
I don't already know that I'm fat? Like,
Oh my god, this is news to me. Before today, I had no idea that I was overweight. So thank you for bringing this to my attention.
Literally,
Y'all
I had
literally
no
said
clue.
everything that I could have, so. So, I guess, like, just don't be a dick. You don't know what is going on inside someone's body. You are specifically judging a book by its cover. You're not getting into the pages of everything.
And you don't even know what's going on in their life either. So
No.
That's what I mean.
I don't get why you're even involving yourself in it then.
And
Literally.
also, to add to the other end of that, don't assume that someone's not confident in themselves just because they're overweight or underweight.
Mm-hmm. I used to have, like, zero self-confidence, but bitch, now? Watch the glow up, baby.
I know I used to feel the same way, like you didn't have any confidence, but now I definitely have my own confidence now.
I've gotten so much better. Like, meeting these two and, like, just, I don't know. Just lots of things.
I feel
have
like we all
helped.
feed off of each other's confidence, honestly.
At this point, is it even confidence or is it just, like, ego?
I'm so bad.
Bitch, I'm pretty.
So, again, surround yourself with like-minded individuals. If you're a caregiver, other caregivers are probably good because they can probably help you out.
No, for real though, because your friends that aren't caregivers don't understand like how much you work and like how your residents become family and all these different aspects
Right.
of the job that we've talked about. Like, if you're not a caregiver, you're not going to understand until you are a caregiver. And if you're never a caregiver, then you will never understand.
I've had so many friends come up to me like after I've like told them like certain things from work or whatever, and they've been like, "I could never do what you do, ever."
Like, oh, that's so traumatic.
Well,
Like,
like-
girl, it's a Tuesday.
Right.
What are you talking about?
That's a normal Tuesday. Club going up on a Tuesday.
Oh my god!
Oh, now I feel old.
You're like the crypt keeper.
Fuck, bro. What
Gotta
are you
do-
doing?
You know, your class ever did those arm movements with that song? Club going up on a Tuesday.
Stop.
No. No, they did not.
Okay, well, mine was special, so.
Also, I'm pretty sure that song came out when I was 21, like old enough to go to the bar. So,
Oh, that song came out when I was in high school.
fuck you.
I forget Amy's the baby.
The baby. But
Okay,
she's
well,
also the
you're
mom.
the middle child, so, like,
I am.
not that much older than me.
I know.
Oh, fuck you both. I'm so old. No, I'm not really, but you know.
I know you're the youngest and you have a kid.
I know. I'm a baby.
Fun fact, I probably should have had 1 or 2 kids by now at least, but PCOS, bro. It's a thing. It sucks. Look it up.
Dead.
Or don't.
or don't.
I mean, honestly, if you do look it up, you're going to find out a lot of things about me that I don't know if I want you to know, so probably don't look it up.
What? Oh my god. Okay, moving on. So let's talk about people that call each other lazy at work when you're overweight.
Oh my.
The rage! Like, I'm surprised you can't see the steam blow out of my
I
fucking
feel like
ear.
they do it mostly because
How can
they're
they
the
see it when
lazy
they're
ones.
listening?
No, I mean at work, you asshole.
The ones that always call me lazy at work are always the ones that
Old
like,
fat bitches.
are lazy.
Or like the ones that sit on their phones the entire time while you do everything.
Oh, and the comments. Okay, so like working in certain places, the comments that you get from residents for being a big person, so irritating. It's like, and you just like shrug it off. I've had so many like residents be just like, "Oh, you're a big guy." Yeah, I am. Thanks.
I've gotten the same. You're a
Oh,
big
you have a
girl.
small dick.
At least I can walk, Marvin.
No, it's more like at least my dick works, Marvin. Oh my god.
At least if I fall down, I can get myself up, Gail.
I don't need no life alert, bitch.
These are just generic names we're using.
yeah, we
It's-
don't-
Yeah.
I've actually never taken care of a Marvin or a Gail, so.
Same. And now that you
You
said
have.
Gail, though, Marvin Gaye. No, I haven't.
No, we haven't.
No.
They're just generic names we're using.
No, but it's so uncomfortable when you're asked, like, are you pregnant? Or when are you due? Like, bitch.
I've gotten that question so many times from, like, the elderly population, and I'm like, I am not from your generation. Don't assume.
And from now on, whenever I get asked if I'm pregnant, I should just say, oh, when did you have your hysterectomy? Like,
That would be funny.
Honestly,
if we're gonna assume.
most of those comments have happened, like, after I've eaten dinner or something.
And
Food
you
baby.
bloated.
Food baby. What do you do? In a couple hours.
My mom actually literally did that to somebody once on accident.
Oh.
She went up to her thinking she was pregnant. She's like, oh my gosh, when are you due? Or whatever. And she's like, I'm not pregnant. And my mom was like,
Oh, no.
Yeah, I had someone come up to me that, like, I knew her, but we weren't, like, friends. And I hadn't seen her in a while, and she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, what's going on in there? And I was so confused. I was like, what's going on where? What is going on? And she's like, she keeps like poking around, and she was like, you know, and she's like got that stupid smile on her face. And I'm just like, no, I really don't. What are you talking about? And she finally looks at me and she's like, you're pregnant. And I'm like, I am? That's news to me. Since when?
oh my God.
And she was like, wait, you're not pregnant? I was like, last time I checked, nope. I'm pretty sure this is just fat from the first one. And she was like, oh, I am so sorry. She was like, I'm going to go put my foot in my mouth and never ask anybody that ever again. And I was like, good, don't.
At least it was you, though.
Yeah.
But literally facts, because you don't know if someone's pregnant or not. Some people just, like, if they eat fucking gluten and they have celiac, like, they're gonna be bloaty and they're gonna look pregnant. So probably don't ask random bitches if they're pregnant. Thank you.
Some men look like they're pregnant.
Literally.
Some men are
Dude,
pregnant.
the beer bellies, though?
I know. They look more pregnant than pregnant women.
Literally.
Okay, so any closing thoughts?
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a cock.
We're cockulous.
Don't be a rooster.
Bye.
Bye!
This has been the Boss Ravioli Queens podcast with your hosts, Boss Lady Amy,
Nicole Ravioli.
And Jasmine the Queen.
Thank you so much for spilling your ravioli with us.
Don't worry, we'll serve you more next time.
Until next time, go wash your ass.